Okay, as usual, let me see if this thing is recording. And it is. Okay. Yu-Gi-Oh 101. Yu-Gi-Oh 101. 2013. September 1st. Banlist predictions. This is a video that I spoke on in the ADSPLAY uploading schedule that I did Sunday. That I kind of had on the back burner for a little bit. The reason because of that was I did a video. Ignore that, I'm on Domino's, and that's the pizza tracker. It's a new one that they have, like this real romantic Romeo Juliet thing, but whatever. Yeah, that was completely unexpected. But the original plan for this video or this topic was to be covered in the 2013 deck expectations video that I did. I say around like a month ago. But as I mentioned in that video, I wasn't active in Yu-Gi-Oh for some time, so a lot of hold on, wait, let me close this door. Okay, but yeah, as I was saying, like a lot of what was going on in Yu-Gi-Oh I wasn't aware of, so I couldn't necessarily speak on what should be banned or what should be limited or semi-limited. I couldn't make, any sensible predictions based on, like the way the current game was going, because I wasn't active in it for like a week or two. So when I did finally decide to dive back into it, enough to where I can see what's being played, I can see what's the matter with the game, and I can make some sensible predictions. So with that being said, you of course are going to get a lot of people, especially on YouTube and any other website, forum like Pojo, Shriek, or whatever site out there, that are going to do these banlist predictions. But here's the difference between me and them, and I pride myself on this. I do this based on what should happen, based on the way the current metagame is going, and all of the new cards that are coming in, and everything that's happening in the game right now. Does it make sense to semi-limit this or ban this, or to, is it necessary to take these actions against these cards in order to rebalance the game? And the reason why I put that in quotations is, of course, I'll be touching on that in a bit. But first things first, let me talk to Konami. Now, based on, my logic, Konami is a business. And I feel that they do pay attention to a lot of the videos like this when it comes to them making new cards or to them trying to ban certain things. Here's the thing, and if anybody knows Konami, I know it's far-fetched, but if anybody knows Konami or some type of representative for that company to, take any actions when it comes to like the new, the new format, this needs to be said. Back in 2011, I did a video in regards to card games that have not, stood the test of time. And in that video, I showed these Dragon Ball Z trading cards, which never had any type of tournament play to my knowledge, and nobody was looking up to play them, and it just fell into obscurity because it didn't have any competitive backing to keep it going. Unlike Yu-Gi-Oh, unlike other card games out there such as Pokemon and Magic the Gathering. And it's because of that competitive scene that Yu-Gi-Oh has survived all these years. Of course, from video game and business marketing and things like that on your part, but because of the players and the duelists, or the people that play Yu-Gi-Oh, or whatever they you know what I'm saying, like want to label themselves at, as, they're the reason why the game has carried over from 2002 in the United States up until now. With that being said, what should happen with these reformat lists, and I understand you guys have to make your money, you're a business, so that's, of course, will be one of your primary objectives is to bring money into your company. But but just for the sake of the competition, pay attention. I need you to listen to me. Like I said, the competition, that competitive scene is the reason why the game has lasted this long. So I feel it's only right that you guys do things to rebalance the game to make it fair for everyone in the game in general. Back in 2011, 2012, I believe, I'm not completely sure, on like which year it was, but back when the windups and injectors were literally running rampant, they had two strategies with those builds that completely just ruined the game for a lot of people. With the windup loop, it was so many unfair advantages. One in particular where they had this loop where they would use windup rat, windup hunter, and I believe it was windup Zenmile, where they would just continuously resummon those monsters, use Hunter's ability over and over again, just abuse it, and basically when their first turn happened, they could just empty out their opponent's hand, and their opponent literally wouldn't be able to do anything about it. At the most that they would be able to do is, if they went first and they had like a good hand, then maybe they would be able to have a chance against it. But 99% of the time, you had it to where, they would just empty out their opponent's hand. I've seen windups go up against windups using that same tactic, and even they got fucked over. And with the injectors, it was no better. They would just dump Hornet into the graveyard and literally just destroy every card on their opponent's side of the field and then just attack. So it was bullshit at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? And now we kind of see that same thing going on with the Dragon Rulers now. My thing is this. You guys make these cards, so I'm pretty sure you have like a team that, tests these cards out, or, that they study the cards to see what needs to be made and what can be used along with this. So it's no question that you guys know that these broken loops and whatever is going to happen. And you know that it's a group of people in Yu-Gi-Oh! that primarily only uses those top tier broken loop / overpowered builds, and they never want to do anything else besides that. And that's why you got the same thing running over and over again. And just on a side note, for the people that get mad at me for me not playing up against certain builds in like Yu-Gi-Oh! 101 Fan Day events that I have, granted I haven't done them in a minute, I want there to be some variety in the videos that I give you. It does not make any sense for me to give you guys 30, or like 15 to 20 videos of me going up against Prophecies, Dragon Rulers, Prophecies, Dragon Rulers, Exodia builds, Prophecies, Dragon Rulers, Dino Rabbits, just the same thing over and over again. You're going to get bored with that. Why the hell would I want to give you the same thing over and over again when I can give you something different, something unique, something new? What would be the purpose of me giving you the exact same thing over and over again? That's why I try to make new builds just to give you guys something new to see. Who knows? Maybe you'll be able to like find out, because I don't give out my deck recipes whatsoever. But maybe you guys will be able to find, like figure out, okay, this is the cards that are using. Maybe I can make something creative with that and add to the game. Now back to Konami. You guys know that these broken loops are gonna. You guys know that these broken loops are gonna exist way before they hit the streets. Or, yeah, but my thing is this: if you guys, pretty much is just like this. I would like to see you guys stop doing that. Like I said, it's a group of people. It's a slim to none chance, but to make these broken loops, like just for the sake of competition, it's bullshit. And I'm speaking this from a competitive standpoint. I play on Dueling Network, which is more of a in-person experience when it comes to, you know, something like playing Yu-Gi-Oh. You have to do a lot of the things on there manually, such as playing the cards themselves, activating them at the right time, etc. So my thing is, there should be some sort of, how do I put it? There should be some sort of common sense factor that, you know, for the sake of competition, which is the reason why our game lasts this long, you know, is this the right thing to do? Now, a lot of people won't agree with me. Half of, like I said, it's a group of people that only use those broken, overpowered, top-tier decks again. And they don't want to see those cards go. And I'm going to speak on that when I get, you know, I'm saying, to the actual cards that I predict should be on the ban list, should be semi-limited, or should be limited in a little bit. Because, like, it's really some good points that I'm going to make during that. But just Konami, man, just as a competitor that plays the game like that, granted, I haven't played it that much in a bit, but even during the time when I was playing it, you know, actively like that, it's a shame to see where it's ended up. You guys are making these ridiculous archetypes that really just have no business being made, you know, all for the sake of the almighty dollar. And it's sad to see that, you know, again, from a competitive standpoint, which is the reason why you guys have lasted this long, as I've expressed earlier on in the video. So, I mean, you guys can make a well-balanced archetype without the need of making them ridiculously overpowered. And with that being said, let's get to the actual cards. Now, again, this is, oh, and by the way, I am waiting on some pieces, so just forgive me if I end up having to get up and go to the door, but I'll make sure to, you know, stop the video, you know, during that time, and I'll just restart it again. But on to the actual cards. Now, again, this is what should happen. Based on the way the current game is going and the new cards that have come in, this is what should happen. What's being played in the game currently, you know, these are the cards that I feel, based on what the game is, based on where the game is and how it's being played, we need to rebalance this game. That's what should happen. With that being said, these are my predictions for the September 1st, 2013 ban list. Again, what should happen. So that's going to be the motto for this entire little segment right here. This is what should happen. Not based on emotion, just based on the sensibility of where the game is right now. So, the first card that I have on this list is Blackluster Soldier, Envoy of the Beginning. That card should be banned, because my reason for that is because they came out with another version of Blackluster Soldier. Blackluster Soldier, Envoy of the Twilight. Now, the way this card is designed to work, it's based on graveyard balance between light and dark monsters. You have people that are bitching about, you know, Envoy of the Beginning possibly being banned because they don't want to try anything new. Anything that seems to be a little bit more difficult, they don't want to put their hand in it because it's too hard for them. And to me, I just say fuck them, straight up, because this game is about bringing in new concepts, bringing in new ideas, so that you guys can have something new to use instead of sticking to the same old boring and repetitive motifs that you always been using. You know, learn the game, learn how to. Make sure it's recording. All right, I think it is it? Okay, yeah, it is. But yeah, as I was saying in the last video before I had to go answer the door, stuffed cheesy breadsticks, amazing. Anyway, yeah, learn the game, learn something new, try to, you know, challenge yourself instead of sticking to these same repetitive builds. And then you got the nerve to do, you know, something similar to Fan Day. I know those people doing that, you know, doing videos of duels way before I got started, so I don't want to hear none of that from you people. But, you know, it's boring when you watch those things and then you're playing the same thing and going up against the same things, like the same 3 decks over and over again. Where's the fun in that? what's the reason for me to watch this video? Are you doing anything new? Are you doing anything different than the last video? No. Now, you're not going up against anything different, so why? So what's the purpose of me even watching it if in the last video you guys did the same thing? But again, that little, you know, rant was just for the people that, you know, play duels and they record them and they upload them to YouTube or any other streaming site they have out there. But yeah, challenge yourself. You know, try to find a card that you think nobody uses anymore, and then try to challenge yourself to make a new build with it. You know, because I do that off and on. That's why I have such a variety of decks to use when I do my fan days. I never stick to the same thing over and over again. So you know that you're going to get some new experience, and I do my best not to go up against those repetitive builds for that very reason. Because it gets boring when you know, because the human body adapts, and I don't want to get too philosophical, you know, as I'm doing these cards, but, you know, the human body adapts. This is common knowledge. You know, when you smoke weed the first time, the second time you do it, like, you're not going to get that same feeling, that same, you know, that same feeling from it, you know, like the next time you do. Because your human body adapts, you know. If you're boxing, you know, like those punches or that fear that you may have of getting hit, it's not going to be the same feeling that you get, you know. If you keep on fighting, then eventually then your body is going to be adapting. You won't be as fearful to getting hit as, you know what I mean, that first time when you started fighting, that very first time when you started fighting. Yeah, it's just a learning experience, and I know those probably weren't the best examples, but you guys understand what I'm trying to say. It adapts, and just like in Yu-Gi-Oh in particular, you know, when you see that first, when you see something for the first time, it has like this shock value to it. It has this hype around it. Eventually, you see it over and over again, and then it just gets boring. That's why you just, you know, you would want to try something new. You would want to show people new things. And that's pretty much what my entire quote-unquote campaign has been about with the Yu-Gi-Oh! 1-in-1 series. I do tips and discussions to try to push people in that path, you know, just to try to get them to understand why I feel this is so important to the game. But at the end of the day, people will play what they want to play, and if they want to be boring and repetitive, so be it. It's other people out there that want to watch, you know, a variety of content instead of looking at the same thing over and over again. But, you know, that remains to be seen and whatever. So, Blackluster Soldier Envoy at the beginning, you know, it should get banned. It should get banned because they brought in a new version of Blackluster Soldier called Envoy of the Twilight, and it's supposed to be a fixed version of Envoy at the beginning. And if there was nothing wrong with Blackluster Soldier Envoy at the beginning, then it should have been no reason for them to make Twilight. You know what I mean? So, based on the way they've done cards like this in the past, it looks like that Blackluster Soldier Envoy at the beginning will be getting banned. And forgive me if you hear that background noise. There's people here. They're doing a lot of talking. My bad. But, yeah. So, next up, we have Super Rejuvenation. And, this card needs to get banned. It should get banned. Because the way it's being used right now, it's like you can empty your entire hand and you can just re-up everything that you have. Again, I take it back to that wind-up, you know, loop, because it's similar to that in certain aspects, and I may not be able, and I may not even be able to give any good examples of this, so I might just need to shut up about that. But I will try. You know, just like the wind-ups had this loop that, or you know what I'm saying, like this strategy where they can just empty out your opponent's hand with little to no, you know, like restriction in sight. What the Dragon Rulers do is that they dump cards from their hand, and the person can activate multiple, you know, super rejuvenations. And what that does, based on how many cards or how many dragons you dump from your hand to the graveyard, you'll be able to, you know, like draw that many cards in the end phase. And I've seen people use multiple copies of this, and they can draw like 10 cards because they just dumped, that many dragons from their hand to the graveyard. And it does get ridiculous after a minute. It's like basically your graveyard is your hand with that. And to be able to draw that many cards and get that much draw power, especially early, mid, or even late game, it's kind of foolish. And I really think just based on the way things going and the fact that there's no limit to how many can be used per turn with Super Rejuvenation, then that card should go, in all honesty. Next up, I say Judgment of Spell Books should be limited. I don't think it should be banned. It should be limited. It's not as bad. It's similar to Super Rejuvenation. It's similar to it in terms of how many like spellbook spell cards get used. That's how many that you're able to like search for or like add to your hand. In Super Rejuvenation, it works in a similar manner like that. Just based on how many dragons you discard to the graveyard or whatever. That's how many cards you're able to draw. But it's not as bad as Super Rejuvenation. But I do think it's like overpowered. I don't think it's as bad as Super Rejuvenation, but it does need to be limited. Like that card needs to be slowed down, in my opinion. Other cards that I feel should be get semi-limited, and this is with the Dragon Rulers. Okay, so for the people that don't know too much about like the terms when it comes to Dragon Rulers, okay, so there's like level 3 and level 4 Dragon Rulers. Like, which are the babies, and then you have like the level 7s, like, which are the wait, who's this? Oh, never mind. But yeah, like you have the level 7 Dragon Rulers, which are the adults. And so again, like when I say babies or adults, just understand that that's what I'm talking about. I feel that since the level 7 monsters are where the most trouble comes from with them, and it's no question that the Dragon Rulers need to be slowed down. Even with Super Rejuvenation, if that card gets banned, the Dragon Rulers are still, kind of ridiculous. So, what I'm saying, since they need to be slowed down a little bit, you should semi-limit all of the level 7 adults. Again, this is what should happen. If anybody's been paying attention to Dueling Network or like Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro, then you guys pretty much know why. If you haven't, the adults are the ones with the effects. And because you're able to basically just dump dragons from your hand or the graveyard, and you can just search for them like that, and you can special summon them, etc., etc., that's pretty much where the problem comes in with them. And that's the reason why I feel like they need to be slowed down, because to be able to activate those effects, so often, it's pretty fucking ridiculous. I don't think I honestly believe I don't think any of the Dragon Rulers need to be banned at all, but I do think they need to be slowed down. And the main problem is with the adults. Those are the ones that need to be slowed down, because those are the ones with these effects. You know what I mean? Like the babies don't really do anything but search for the adults. So it's like those, like really don't need to be touched. But I feel that the adults do need to be slowed down a bit. That's why I say I believe that they should be semi-limited, because I believe that's fair. But again, but that's it for the cards that I feel should be banned or should be limited or semi-limited at the moment. I also think that something should happen to the mermaids, just for the simple fact, like, okay, I haven't been or like I haven't watched a mermaid duel in a minute, but I do remember them being pretty ridiculous, and that some of the cards may need to get semi-limited. Of course, like I'm gonna have to look more into that, and maybe I'll just have it, you know what I'm saying, like in like an annotation, or I might, you know, then, you know what I'm saying, like have it in the video description, you know what I'm saying, like as to my reasons why after I look more into them. But I do remember them being, you know, pretty ridiculous, and nothing has happened to them. And the only reason why nobody is playing with them now, because those same people that was playing, you know, again, those top tier, broken, overpowered loop, you know, strategy people in Yu-Gi-Oh, that group, they just moved on to the Dragon Rulers because that's even more ridiculous right now. So that's the only reason why they're not playing Mermails. You know, like the Mermails haven't got hit, nothing's changed with them. So why would you just move from this that's been working over to this? Just because this is more ridiculous, you know what I mean? So that's the only reason why nobody's playing Mermails. But again, if we're talking about rebalancing the game, let's rebalance everything that needs to be touched. You know what I'm saying? Based on what should happen and the way the current game is going, and the new cards that they have coming in possibly, then let's hit everything that needs to be hit. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's touch everything that needs to be touched in order for the game to be, you know what I'm saying, like rebalanced the way it needs to be. Now, that's pretty much everything right now, just based on everything that I've seen on, you know, websites and other Yu-Gi-Oh videos of duels and things like that, on Dueling Network, on Yu-Gi-Oh Pro. You know, just seeing the cards that needed to be touched this upcoming format, those are the ones that I feel need to be, you know, hit. And now I'm going to get into like 3 other cards that, again, I go to Pojo, to Shriek, to all these other Yu-Gi-Oh websites, and I see other people having these same discussions about the cards that should return. This is why I was calling those people stupid. Because they don't base off, like, they don't base things on the sensibility of the game and where it currently is, and if the cards that cause them to get banned still exist into the game are still legal. You know, they base it on their emotions. Oh, I would just like to see this come back just for the simple fact that I like the card and I want it to come back. You know what I mean? It's kind of childish, you know, and if you're not, you know, 12 years old or under, then you shouldn't even be making statements like that. Or if you're new to Yu-Gi-Oh and you haven't had at least, I would say, 6 months to, you know, really learn the game and really get some experience from it, then you shouldn't even be speaking on predictions, in my opinion. But that's just me. Yeah, but these are some of the, you know, cards that other people have said should return. Some people say that Trishula should be returned. Here's the thing when it comes to all these cards that are currently banned in the game right now. Look at the reason why the card was banned. When you look at the reason why it was banned, see if the reasons why that card was banned or the cards that was used with it that caused it to be banned are still legal into the game. If they are still legal in the game, then of course then it's a stupid prediction to even say that this card should come back. It was banned for a reason. If that reason still exists and is still legal in the game, then why would they bring it back? That's stupid. Trishula was banned. Well, at first Trishula was limited. At first it was at 3. Trishula was limited, and then it was still too much because people came up with this ridiculous loop that was more ridiculous than the wind-up. You know, just discard your opponent's entire hand. That strategy. It was more ridiculous than that, because what they would do is they would use desynchro and they would just resummon the synchro monsters and just resummon Trishula and just like back over and over and over again, to the point, because when Trishula gets special summoned, it hits 3 different zones. It hits your hand, your graveyard, and your field, and it banishes cards from, you know, your hand, graveyard, you know, and the field. So it hits 3 different zones at once, and that, if that's not overpowered, then I don't know what is. You know, you're basically banishing cards from 3 different areas on your opponent's side. And it's fucking retarded that that one card was able to do that. You know what I mean? It's fucking ridiculous. It doesn't send it to the graveyard, it banishes them. So that's mind blowing. And to have a loop that basically continued to wipe out all three of those zones over and over again, that's the reason why that card is gone. That's the reason why that card is no longer playable. Trishula should not come back until the cards that made it broken, something happens to them. But those cards, they're not overpowered, and they're not, those cards aren't, so quote unquote broken, or those cards can't be really abused like that to where they would get hit. So with that being said, I can't see Trishula coming back into the game at all. I can't see it. Again, just based on sensibility. If that's the right word to use, so forgive me if I, yeah. Next up, the card that I've seen multiple people on multiple sites say this, Chaos Emperor Dragon. The only reason why people say they want to see Chaos Emperor Dragon make a return is out of jealousy. Again, those emotions again. That's the only reason why. And truth be told, it's the truth. The only reason why people want to see Chaos Emperor Dragon make a return is out of jealousy because Blackluster Soldier Envoy at the beginning made a return off the ban list. So they're like, well, since Blackluster Soldier Envoy at the beginning came back into the game, then why don't Chaos Emperor Dragon comes back into the game? And it's really that ridiculous, and you can see it. They can't give a good reason as to why the card should come back. Again, I take it back to what I said just a little minute, just a minute ago. If the reasons why that card was banned are still legal in the game, or if the reason why that card was banned, is or like if the effect that monster had was so ridiculously overpowered, which Chaos Emperor Dragon's effect was, then yeah, that card should not make a comeback. And besides, they have reincarnations of Chaos Emperor Dragon in this game. Those monsters are harder to summon, but they are in the game and they're legal. They made reincarnations of those cards, so Chaos Emperor Dragon won't be coming back, and I'm gonna be surprised if they do. Again, this is what should happen, but again, and people have said Sangan should make a return, and I've spoken on this in the I've spoken on this a few months back, and I said I congratulated Konami on doing this. They banned Sangan before the new cards that were coming out at that time came in. The reason why they did that, Sangan was the best searcher in the game. It could search for anything that had 1500 or less attack. It was a lot of cards coming into the game that had 1500 or less attack that Sangan would have been able to search for and make it unfair for a lot of what is this? What again? What the hell? Somebody was texting me, but yeah, it was just a lot, and you can even see it in the game right now. From Box of Friends, from what I'm saying, that I can't remember the name of that damn thing. Labradite Dragon, what I'm saying, like that high level tuner monster that has 0 attack. What I'm saying, like Zombow Wow. And it's many other cards that came into this game that Sangan will be able to search for. That is, again, just like pretty much like that card just had to go because of those reasons. And it's probably some other reasons why that card had to get banned that I may not be aware of. But to me, I congratulated Konami for doing that, because I've never witnessed a format where Konami bans a card, like before these new cards come in that can benefit from that. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, that's everything. You know, of course, leave your comments. Let me know if you agree with me or not on all of the things that I've said in this video. Again, sorry and shit because the Domino's man came and I had to go answer the door. So sorry for that little cut in the video. But yeah, again, just to recap, I believe some of the mermails should be semi-limited. Because like I said, if people wasn't playing Dragon Rulers, those people would be playing mermails now. The only reason why they're not playing mermails is because Dragon Rulers are out, and Dragon Rulers are even more ridiculous than mermails are. But I still think if we're going to rebalance the game like we should, then yeah, then the mermails still need to be hit. All of the level 7 Dragon Rulers should get semi-limited because they do need to be slowed down. I don't think any of them need to be banned, but they do need to be slowed down a bit. Blackluster Soldier Envoy of the Beginning. That card should be banned because of the new, you know, fixed version of it in Envoy of the Twilight. Because we've seen cards like this come into the game. You know, they're basically a new version of these other cards, and those other cards end up getting banned. So it might happen, but yeah, I think Super Rejuvenation should get banned simply because you can discard your entire hand and you can literally draw like twice as much because there's no limit on, or like there's no restrictions on how many Super Rejuvenations can be activated per turn, and it's kind of ridiculous, you know. So that card should be either limited or banned, you know what I mean. But even limited, I think it'd still be ridiculous for the Dragon Rulers, but like, you know, yeah, and I think that Judgment of Spellbooks should be limited. It's similar to Super Rejuvenation, but it's not as bad as Super Rejuvenation is. Because like you can only activate like one Judgment of Spellbooks per turn. You know what I'm saying? So it is a limit there. Like there is like some type of restriction there that's causing you to not activate so many. But still, like you only need to activate one in order to get the, you know, like the full effect from it. You know what I mean? Just use a bunch of spell books and then you'll be able to get that many back. That's kind of ridiculous. I do think that needs to be slowed down a bit. Because even with that, you know, you can only use, you know what I'm saying, like just one of these per turn. It's still ridiculous that every turn you get to get that over and over again. So that needs to be slowed down. Trishula shouldn't come back. Chaos Emperor's Dragon, fuck you. And Sangan, fuck you as well. So, yeah, so that's everything, man. Again, leave a comment. Let me know what you feel should be hit or should be banned in the, banned, limited, or semi-limited in the game, this upcoming format. Yeah, so that's everything, man. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. And until then, peace.